Hey everyone, this is David Brown with the migration update for May 10th, 2023 from the Braddock Bay Hawk Watch. It was a beautiful morning to get out early and do some birding. Kim and I started at the Firehouse Woods, and then we had a nice walk through the 1 mile stretch of the Lakeville Community Church Trail. Probably the highlight of that walk was this male Blackburnian warbler, and you can just see how bright orange the throat is in that morning sun. And speaking of orange birds, we also had a lot of Baltimore Orioles. We decided to try walking the Beatty Point Trail, which is a trail that we had never been on before, but it looks like a really nice area, and we only went part of the way, but I'd really like to go back and explore it more. And we made it as far as a little bridge that looks over some beautiful water. On the way back to the car, we were surprised to see an American black duck flying with a mallard. It's a species we haven't really been seeing too often lately. And it was really nice to see this Lincoln sparrow on the path. We heard one the other day, but this was our first Lincoln sparrow that we've seen this year. And you can see on the upper breast it has really thin streaking, and it's got a tan color behind that streaking. This photo doesn't show it the best, but it's kind of whiter down here, and then this whole area up here is tan. So that helps you distinguish it from song sparrows. And usually Lincolns look a little bit more gray in the face than song sparrows. And we also had this white-crowned sparrow, along with many white-throated sparrows and a field sparrow. I got over to Braddock Bay Park around 8:30 in time to start the Hawk Watch, and you can see it was just a beautiful sunny day. There was a high layer of haze, just like we had yesterday, and someone told me that it's actually from wildfires in Alberta, Canada. So that's why the sunsets have been so pretty the past couple days. It's just this haze from the smoke from fires. The winds were fairly strong in the morning out of the west, and throughout the day it became lighter, mostly out of the northwest, occasionally shifting more northerly, occasionally more westerly, at times almost dying off completely. So it was just a really pleasant day to be out, and it got quite warm by the afternoon. Just a beautiful spring day up here along the shore of Lake Ontario. Here's the first turkey vulture of the day that went over as I was getting all my stuff set up. Here's the local Cooper's hawk cruising around looking for turkey vultures to harass. Here's part of a flock of double-crested cormorants, and you can see there were some immatures mixed in. They're the ones that are more white on the neck and underside. The Cooper's hawk found a turkey vulture to chase, and I kind of like this photo, the posture that the vulture's doing. It's like it's got a really long neck. And that Cooper's hawk can get pretty aggressive going after the vultures. Here's an immature bald eagle, and we had a really good eagle flight today with more than 25. Here's a great blue heron slowly cruising by. Here we have a cliff swallow, which is one of the less common species of swallows to see. And he's got his head turned, so you're just seeing the throat here. Here we have a juvenile broad-winged hawk, and we had less than 100 broadwings today, so not a huge flight, just small numbers mixed in with groups of turkey vultures. And we're starting to see more and more juveniles. Earlier in the season, we see mostly adult broad-winged hawks, but now we're seeing more of a mix of adults and juveniles, and then we'll switch to mostly juveniles. Here's a pine warbler that flew past. Here's a group of 3 sandhill cranes that gave us a pretty close look and were calling for us. Here's another immature bald eagle, or one of last year's juveniles, but you can see that it's starting to molt some feathers, both in the inner primaries and also in the tail. Here's a Baltimore Oriole that perched up and sang for us. Here's a juvenile Cooper's hawk. Notice the large head, long tail, and somewhat straight wings. Gives it a flying cross shape, and the streaking on the underside is kind of a brown teardrop streaking, mostly on the upper breast. The Raptor highlight of the day was probably this immature golden eagle that came over around 12:30. And here we have a really fresh juvenile bald eagle. You can see dark head, really dark underside, white in the wing pit area, even trailing edge to the wing. So this is one of those southern juvenile bald eagles born over the winter down south of us. Here's another juvenile Cooper's hawk showing the same field marks as the last one. Here's a raptor with rather pointy wings, so we suspect that it's a falcon. And you can see it's got kind of a dark streaking on the underside and a dark tail with white bands. So this is a Merlin. Here's a Northern Harrier, and this one is relatively unmarked underneath and in the patagial area, so this is a juvenile Northern Harrier. Here's another juvenile bald eagle. Again, notice that even trailing edge to the wing because all of the feathers are the same age. And here's a group of turkey vultures, and we had small to medium-sized groups of vultures throughout the day, maybe up to 30 or 40 individuals, and over 500 turkey vultures total. So the past couple of days, we've really had a nice push of turkey vultures coming through. And against the blue skies, the vultures are nice because we can focus on those groups of vultures and pick out the other birds that are mixing in, like red tails and broadwings and bald eagles. So the turkey vultures kind of let us be able to spot where the flight line is to be able to spot those smaller, more difficult to see birds. Here's yet another juvenile Cooper's hawk. Again, see that streaking. Although the streaking on this one goes down fairly far, but if it were a northern goshawk, the streaking would go all the way down onto these feathers as well instead of stopping here. Here we have a turkey vulture on the top and a juvenile broad-winged hawk down below, giving a nice comparison of the sizes. Here's a crow flying over with who knows what. Here's a juvenile red-tailed hawk. You can see those dark patagial bars in the belly band, and juveniles have no dark trailing edge and no red tail. And you can see a lot of the juveniles are molting some wing feathers right now. Here's a green heron that gave us a nice flyby. Here's a bald eagle that's not quite a full adult yet, but is getting pretty close. Here we have a female American kestrel. You can see those pointy wings and the brown striped tail and some vertical streaking on the underside. The tail and the underside markings are how we know it's a female. And just before 5 p.m., as we were thinking about wrapping things up, I spotted 2 black terns out over the bay, and this is a species I've really been looking for. It's especially nice to see them in this breeding plumage where they're just completely dark underneath and dark wings on both the underside and upper side. A little bit of white back here at the back, but just a really stunning, spectacular bird and quite rare to see at this location. Although they used to actually nest here at Braddock Bay in the marsh back in the day, decades and decades ago. So really cool species to see and one of my favorites. Taking a quick look at the eBird checklist from Firehouse Woods, just a quick trip around, had 28 species, nothing super rare. We did have a Nashville warbler though. At the Church Trail, we had 49 species and just a really enjoyable morning to be out. Again, nothing super rare, but really a lot of good looks, perfect sunlight, and that black Burnian warbler really gave us a stunning view. And that short trip to the Beatty Point Trail, we had 29 species. And at the Hawk Watch platform, we had 68 species today. And I think altogether, I had over 90 species for the day. So just really good totals, really good variety this time of year, and pretty soon we'll be able to get 100 species or more in a day. Taking a look at hawk count for our migrant raptor totals today, we had 524 turkey vultures, 2 osprey, 26 bald eagles, 8 harriers, 39 sharpshins, 5 Cooper's hawks. For buteos, we had 67 broadwings and 43 red tails. We had 1 golden eagle, and we had 1 kestrel, 1 merlin, and 1 peregrine for a total of 718. That brings the May total to 7,048 and the season total to 43,873. The new species for the season today were black Burnian warbler and black tern. And taking a look at the forecast for tomorrow, it's looking kind of similar today, mostly sunny with a high in the mid-70s, winds west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. So I would expect to have similar results to today. Should be a pretty good flight, although with those blue skies and a relatively high flight height, birds can be difficult to spot. But at least with the winds we had today, they seem to be mostly overhead. So we'll hope for another good day tomorrow. For Friday, it's looking partly cloudy with a high around 80, winds west at 10 to 15. So again, should be another moderate migration, and having some clouds will be helping us to spot the birds, hopefully. And for Saturday, intervals of clouds and sun, high in the upper 60s, and a light northerly wind, so slightly less favorable wind, would only expect light, maybe moderate migration. Well, such a great time to be out birding this early to mid-May time period. Tons of new arrivals every day, lots of warblers, lots of very colorful birds. So I hope that you're able to get out birding soon. We've had such beautiful weather, and it looks like the next few days we'll have really good weather as well. Should be a lot of songbird migration the next few nights, so hope you can make it out in the field and maybe even visit us at the Hawk Watch platform. From Lyco Birds, this is David Brown. Thanks for watching.